Nightline is brought to you by National Mutual, the financial services company 500,000 Kiwis trust.
Tonight, ACT's accused of flouting the law over its fighting fund for the by-election. A murder inquiry is launched in Auckland after a body's found outside a house. A St Patrick's sob story. We visit the only Irish pub in New Zealand closed today.
You're the Eggman. I am the Walrus.
Plus, a galaxy of stars queue up to pay tribute to the Fab Four.
This is Nightline with Leanne Malcolm.
Kia ora, good evening. Claims tonight that ACT is flouting the law by raising an $80,000 fighting fund for the by-election. Under the law, the most allowed for campaigning is only half that amount. New Zealand First immediately went on the attack, accusing its rival of playing dirty. But ACT says $80,000 is the price of victory.
ACT's presence in Aotearoa was peaceful today, but in Wellington the party's intention to spend twice the amount than its political foes has angered them.
They've got some idea, like some small clique in the business roundtable, that money can buy everything. Well, it doesn't in this country and never will.
The limit once a candidate is selected is $40,000, but ACT wants to spend that much again before selecting its candidate, saying there are things that the party can and must do that aren't part of the allowable limit. That includes a postal ballot of electors asking them to select the ACT candidate from these four contenders.
What you got here is a clear, repetitive abuse of the spirit of the ACT.
What we are doing is paying for democracy. We're giving the voters in Taranaki King Country the first opportunity to select the candidate that they want.
The politician who knows the electorate best says the locals won't like ACT's tactic.
Everything they do, they can't seem to help identifying themselves as the rich man's political plaything.
ACT also says a vote for it would help take New Zealand First's noose from National's neck. A win would of course give ACT the balance of power, and Prebble says it would spell the end of New Zealand First.
We'll bring the government back to sound policies. We most certainly have no intention of sitting in the cabinet room with New Zealand First ministers.
Peters just scoffed at that scenario.
I just saw a pig fly by the window.
The reality is, no matter how much money ACT throws at this by-election, National will take the seat. And while ACT says it would still be happy with coming second, in politics it's only winning that counts. Jane Young, 3 News.
Prime Minister Jenny Shipley visited her predecessor Jim Bolger's hometown today. She was in Te Kuiti to introduce National's new candidate for the Taranaki King Country by-election. Shane Ardern is a 38-year-old dairy farmer from Opanaki and Mr Bolger's former electorate chairman.
A very strong following in this electorate, and following on from that, I think I can pick up on some of those things. Yeah, no doubt about that.
ACT is making a big play for the electorate, but Ardern says he doesn't see them as a threat. A murder inquiry has been launched tonight after the discovery of a body outside an Auckland house. The victim was found on the front lawn of his home in Mount Wellington. It's thought he may have tried to ring for help as a telephone was nearby. The fire service was called to cover the man's body while police made inquiries at the scene. It's not clear exactly how the man died, but foul play is suspected. A New Year's Eve fling with a male student has landed a Perth teacher in court. Jodie Narelle Fricker has pleaded not guilty to 2 charges of sexual intercourse with a child.
Only hours after celebrating New Year's Eve, teacher Jodie Fricker's nightmare began. It's alleged that's when she had illegal sex with one of her students. He was just 15 years old. Today she went on trial pleading not guilty to 2 counts of sexual assault. Now aged 17, the boy at the centre of the sex claims today cried as he told the court how he kissed his teacher, then had sex with her. Afterwards he said, "I was feeling scared but happy. I didn't really believe what had happened." But defence lawyers maintain it's all a lie, the false braggings of a boy trying to portray himself as a sexual athlete. When put that he'd told his mates he'd done it with his teacher and that had been every boy's fantasy, the boy replied, correct. He later admitted he'd been drinking alcohol and smoking marijuana and couldn't remember much of that night, but he did remember having sex with his teacher.
The question that could break Bill Clinton's presidency has boiled down to 4 simple words. Do you believe her? Kathleen Willey alleged on television she'd suffered a crude sexual advance 4 years ago. Clinton has denied it, but the president's allies are concerned about how the latest allegations were made.
Here was a woman who appeared vulnerable.
He touched my breast with his hand.
And sympathetic to many of those who watched. And although the president said he didn't watch, today he felt he needed to break his no-comment rule.
I have said that nothing improper happened. I told the truth then. I told the truth in the deposition. I am mystified and disappointed by this turn of events.
As it turns out, Willey wrote several notes to the president long after the incident, released by the White House today, in which she asked for jobs and spoke admiringly of him. In one, she calls herself his #1 fan. Several are signed fondly Kathleen. The last appears to be one asking to be invited to the Christmas party 3 months ago. White House Communications Director Ann Lewis says she's convinced the president is telling the truth because what she saw on television
simply is contradicted by the person I met with who in 1996 was so positive about the president.
The letters released today appear to support Lewis's view. But
I do.
When Anita Hill was questioned sharply about why she'd not charged Judge Clarence Thomas with sexual harassment until years later during his Supreme Court confirmation hearing, it was none other than Ann Lewis who said women would understand the delay.
We know what it can be like to work for a boss who insults you, who degrades you, and yet you feel you have to go on working. You have to go on being friendly.
The friendship between Mr. Clinton and Willey began at this moment in October of 1992, when then Governor Clinton arrived in Richmond for a presidential candidates debate. He apparently asked then Virginia Lieutenant Governor Don Beyer for the name. Beyer replies, Willey, Kathy Willey.
A court appearance today for 5 Asian men accused of killing Auckland businessman Graham Kirkwood. The Crown alleges the men broke into Kirkwood's home intending to kidnap his partner's 14-year-old daughter. Today, Kirkwood's partner herself was asked about the state of her relationship with Graham Kirkwood.
Kirkwood's partner Dan Lee was reluctant to answer questions about her personal life inside the court, and she was even more reluctant to meet our cameras outside. She told the court how she'd come home one night to find Kirkwood and his car gone, the hallway splattered with blood, and a ransom note. It read, "If you call police, you will never see him again. We will call you." Eventually, though, the police were called, and several hours after he was reported missing, Kirkwood's battered body was found dumped at a Mangere Park. The Crown alleges the men went to Kirkwood's home to kidnap his daughter for ransom, but she had moved out, and according to the prosecution, when Kirkwood came home, they beat him, stabbed him, then ransacked his house before taking his car with his battered body in the boot. The Crown says they repainted Kirkwood's BMW, then dismantled it and dumped the parts. Dan Lee told the court she had $40,000 hidden in the house, but that none of it was stolen. The sum included her own savings as well as money gifted to her by Kirkwood and by her father. She told only 3 people about the money's existence: her daughter, Kirkwood, and a male friend. Defence lawyer Paul Trahey asked Dan Lee whether she was having a relationship with that male friend. Dan Lee remained silent, refusing to answer. One of the accused has already conceded there's a case to answer. He pleaded not guilty to the charges and was remanded to the High Court for trial. The depositions hearing for the remaining 4 will continue until next week. Hilary Barry, 3 News. Amateur video has captured the aftermath of a terrifying tower collapse. 2 workers were left hanging when a light tower suddenly retracted at Adelaide Oval. The platform clipped the men's cherry picker, throwing them out of their bucket. They were eventually lowered to the ground by co-workers. Both men were treated by ambulance officers before being taken to hospital. Well, stick around. We've still got the Vatican's apology for errors during the Nazi Holocaust, the legacy of a child care guru, and the shock closure of a famous Kiwi-Irish pub.
I shall fall, progressive God, we're not that to kind of relieve me if I'm buried beneath the side where the oceans roll the sea.
You're back with Nightline. A former Navy rating is being court-martialed for allegedly committing an indecent act on a woman rating. He's accused of asking her for oral sex.
Despite having left the Navy, the former rating has been called before the court-martial to answer a charge of committing an indecent act. He's alleged to have undone his trousers in front of the woman and propositioned her to perform oral sex. The woman says the request for oral sex happened not just once, but many times. She felt frightened, unsure of his intentions. I asked him not to say it on certain occasions, and he would say, "Don't be so serious, I was only joking."
And did you see the joke in it?
Not at all, she said. The Crown Star witness, a member of the Schitt's company, has backed up the woman's allegation. He says he heard the accused ask the woman for oral sex. But in cross-examination of the woman, the exact nature of her relationship with the star witness was called into question.
Did you ever have sex with him in the hangar?
No, I did not, she answered. Absolutely not. The defence pressed on with questions it told the court were relevant to the credibility of the complainant.
Do you remember an incident where during a celebration you had a bit to drink and you kept exposing your breasts by lifting a T-shirt?
The woman said she'd lifted her T-shirt once when she was very drunk and after a colleague had walked in on her in the shower. She said it was a stupid thing to do, but if her male colleagues got excited about it, it wasn't her problem. Justine Short, 3 News.
The Vatican today made its first attempt to address the role of the Catholic Church in the Nazi Holocaust. The Church released a new document urging Catholics to repent for errors and failures. But some critics say the Church has simply not gone far enough.
As members of the Church,
In one sense, the Vatican document is a statement of guilt about the Holocaust. It asks whether Christians gave assistance to the persecuted. Many did, it answers, but others did not. The Catholic Church desires to express her deep sorrow for the failure of her sons and daughters in every age.
It's more than an apology. We feel that we need to repent.
But the document exonerates the wartime Pope, Pius XII, even though he never condemned Hitler or Nazism. Instead, the Vatican says the Pope's diplomacy saved hundreds of thousands of Jews. In Israel today, the chief rabbi said this is just not true.
I know that his silence cost us millions of human lives.
Some Jewish leaders were more positive about the document in its frank examination of a history of anti-Semitic sentiment within the Church.
Here is a document, a statement by the Pope and by the Vatican leaders that I hope will be used as an educational tool.
This is a landmark document and a crowning achievement for Pope John Paul II, who witnessed the Holocaust and feels an almost personal need to ensure it never happens again. He was the first pope to enter a synagogue. He pushed the Vatican to recognize Israel. But today's declaration appears to fall short of the full accounting that many Jews had hoped for.
And it hit the fan in Thailand today. Angry farmers hurled bags of feces at the Thai government headquarters in the name of workers' rights. The farmers claimed the government's broken a promise to provide them with more food, better shelter and mobile toilets. To demonstrate their grievance, they bombarded Government House with excrement and food scraps. The riot was sparked by the return of Thailand's Prime Minister from a trip to the United States. The farmers, all from the poor northwest of Thailand, claim he cares more about Bill Clinton than the plight of the workers. Childcare guru Dr. Benjamin Spock has died in California. He was 94 years old and preached children should be reared on a recipe of love and common sense. A whole generation of parents followed his advice.
There is no one more identified with bringing up baby than Dr. Spock. Baby in Childcare, first published in 1946, is the most widely read how-to book in history. 50 million copies have been printed in 30 languages. It is second in sales only to the Bible.
The children who are best behaved are those whose parents treat them with respect.
Trust yourself, Dr. Spock advised parents of the baby boom generation, but
I've said right from the beginning, children need firm, clear leadership.
Still, Spock's critics said he advised parents to be too permissive, which they said resulted in a generation of kids in the 1960s who were out of control.
I was never permissive. I don't like pesky children.
In 1968, Spock was convicted of helping anti-Vietnam War protesters avoid the draft. Why raise healthy, happy kids, he said, only to have them die in an immoral war? The 7th edition of Baby in Child Care comes out this May. Dr. Benjamin Spock said it was intended for our children, who will be the parents of the 21st century.
Well, stay with us as a rugby league war of words erupts in Aussie. Leonardo DiCaprio sets hearts aflame, and we visit the quietest Irish pub on St Patrick's Night.
On the 4th of July, 1806, we set sail from the street called the Cork. We were sailing away with the cargo of bricks for the ground.
In a hard day's night, he got monkey finger, he shoot Coca-Cola. You're the Eggman, I am the Walrus.
Hollywood stars play the Beatles, and the attraction of Leonardo DiCaprio are next. But first, St Pat's Night. It's the biggest night of the year for anyone who's got a touch of the Irish in them. And judging by the numbers in Irish bars, that's a fair few. But it's been a sad time for the only Irish pub in the country that's been closed tonight.
As the Irish say, there was good crack to be had tonight and the pubs were bouncing. Except for one traditional St Patrick's Night haunt in Auckland, Kitty O'Brien's. The doors were closed because the tenants had been evicted for not paying their rent.
We spent all day negotiating with the Commission trying to get them to give us a temporary permit, but at about 10 to 4 today, we had to give up.
Kitty's has been one of Auckland's landmark Irish pubs, but in a few days, once they get their licence, this Irish pub will become an English pub called the Vic, and the St Patrick's Day patrons aren't happy about it. But those who wandered off took refuge in a pint of Guinness elsewhere, even if they did have to queue. It's been a big day for things Irish. The River Dance troupe were here.
When you go out there and you hear the music, it makes you want to get up there and dance, like I'm sure the audience quite often do.
And an Irish comedian flew in today with some uncharitable ideas to make St Pat's Day here more realistic.
Like bomb scares, that would be nice. I don't know, maybe a big fight in the middle of the street would be good, you know. Husbands going home beating their wives up, that sort of thing. You know, traditional things that Irish people are renowned for.
And while lots of Kiwis claim Irish heritage, tonight we asked whether they really knew about St Patrick.
St Patrick and a good guy. Must have drunk heaps of Guinness. He's a good man. He's just a saint, you know. He's really cool. And he died for us. I love him.
Why?
Because we're here and we're drinking.
He's a Catholic.
Because he drinks Guinness and knows how to party out.
What a lot of Kiwis don't realise is that St Patrick banned snakes from the Emerald Isle, and he was in fact Welsh. And that's no blarney. Linda Dodge, 3 News.
Very brave, Linda, thank you. The producer whose musical genius helped mould the Beatles has retired with an act of self-indulgence. Sir George Martin has enlisted some of the world's most famous oddballs for his final tribute to the Fab Four.
Celebrating retirement with a little help from some friends. The who's who of the music and film industries farewelling former Beatles producer Sir George Martin and launching his final album, a compilation of Beatles classics with a touch of the bizarre.
Dad, you're becoming a lizard.
The most unlikely lineup of singers.
He got monkey finger, he shoot Coca-Cola.
They're Sir George's favourite stars and include the crazy gang of Hollywood.
It's been a hard day's night.
But I think one can be self-indulgent at the age of 72.
Abbey Road, the studio's here, the scene of some of George Martin's best work with the Beatles. But after 48 years in the record-producing business, the unofficial 5th Beatle says he's happy to call it quits.
I don't hear as well, for a start, and you have to have pretty sharp hearing for a producer. So I've just been hanging in there by my fingertips.
The star-studded album, In My Life, will be released next week, and it wouldn't be the same without the most madcap movie star of all.
I wanted to rock out, or something, I don't know. Just get a little edgy, you know, with that, and blow my voice out and some blood on the mic.
They are the Eggman, I am the Walrus.
Neil Warren in London, 3 News.
Kids. Hollywood's skinny sex symbol Leonardo DiCaprio is about to become even more in demand. The young star has helped push the movie Titanic to the top of the box office, but now its popularity is being equalled by another film. And yes, it too features Leonardo, this time in an iron mask.
The man in the iron mask has the face of a boy.
Leonardo DiCaprio, a California kid, has gone from B-movie actor in flops like Critter 3 to Academy Award nominee in What's Eating Gilbert Grape to megastar in Titanic. If you were a 12-year-old girl, you'd already know that and much more.
He's gorgeous. He's gorgeous. He looks like an angel. His hair and his face is amazing.
There are lots of stars. There is only one Leo. Around the world, young girls carry his picture in their wallets. They've memorized every detail of his life from his biographies, the life story of a 23-year-old, bestsellers.
It's weird how God created him. It's like, it's like the best creation God made.
Why Leo, and why now?
The teen idol allows them to have romantic feelings in the context of a very safe relationship. Why is it safe? It's safe because it's not a real relationship.
No different from the Beatles a generation ago or even Sinatra long before that. Leonardo is just a stage.
The infatuation with Leonardo will stop, and it will probably stop pretty abruptly. In part it will stop because some of the girls will age out of this period and in fact will end up with real boyfriends.
I don't know, I don't think I'll ever grow out of Leonardo. Don't go away, we've still got the weather in your region tomorrow. A Kiwi League Test bonanza and a verbal battle breaks out in the NRL.
Sparrows and birds, well, I hate the yellow hides, so I'll blind horses' hides, and I'll let the Irish roll.
Welcome back. A verbal battle in Friday's opening round of the NRL today became an all-out war of words. Manly coach Bob Fulton has been ordered before the NRL board to explain his behaviour towards referee Bill Harrigan. And 4 players are facing the judiciary, including Manly skipper Jeff Tuvey, who was sent off by Harrigan.
The game's top referee is in the firing line.
Firing squad.
League officials have tried to gag Harrigan from talking about Friday night, but he can't hide his disappointment.
I read comments about I'm being a lair, my hair, my shorts and everything like that, so why they're doing it, personal attack, tall poppy syndrome, I don't know.
The referee's tape tells the story.
No, that one down there, he milked that. Honestly, he milked that. Now, come here, come here. You and I are going to get on. If we don't, you'll lose.
But Jeff Tuvey was unstoppable, first earning 10 minutes in the sin bin and then a send-off.
You're starting to draw the inference that I'm cheating by saying that I'm going their way. A Super League thing. There's no Super League thing, okay?
It's blue versus green, and that's all there is to it.
Off the field, Bob Fulton apparently waded in.
I wonder what Bob said.
Well, he's expressed his disgust in no uncertain terms.
I didn't say anything at all to the referee, and anybody